Hello, my friend. Today, I'd like to ask you to sit back, relax, and get nostalgic with me as we go back in time to Mario Kart DS. Now, there was a lot of ways that I was able to kind of lay out the screen here, but this sort of seemed to be the best way to do it. The only other ways would have been a vertical or like a horizontal option where they're just side by side, and then the other one was kind of vertical where, I don't know, there was just like a lot of dark black space on the side. So I figured I'd do the hybrid setup to where my face cam mostly covers up the secondary thing that they have there where it kind of displays the top screen for a second time, but you can also still kind of see the bottom screen. So hopefully this setup works out alright. It's kind of tricky when it comes to recording DS footage because obviously there's two screens and they're 4x3 screens, but everybody typically prefers to watch their content in 16:9. So, you know, it's just one of those things where we're kind of figuring things out. When it comes to the 3DS, it's a little bit easier because most games only use the top screen on 3DS games, if we're going to be honest, but DS games, more times than not, especially on these earlier titles or first-party Nintendo titles, really do need to see that bottom screen as well in most cases. We're gonna go ahead and dive into the Grand Prix. This is the mode that I tend to play the most, and I'm sure most of you do as well, but there's so many fun modes in this game. You got time trials, versus, the battle mode, which the battle mode, man, I'm just gonna say it. I'm not gonna come out outright and say, oh, you know, Mario Kart DS has the best battle mode, because if I'm gonna be honest, I don't have a whole lot of experience with the other battle modes in the Mario Kart franchise. Like, I've played all of them before, but Mario Kart DS is the one where I actually, like, took the time to learn it inside and out just because I played it so much. So, you know, for me, if I had to pick one, I'd probably say Mario Kart DS is my favorite one. But then you also got the missions mode, which is always a lot of fun. But again, we're just going to be diving into the Grand Prix here. I think we're going to go with 100cc. That's always been my favorite. I always felt like 50cc was fun, but was just a little too slow. Whereas 150 is just way too fast, way too chaotic. I always felt like 100 was like that happy medium. Oh man, look at DS Mario upscaled almost like 1080p. This is definitely a sight to behold with all the polygons and stuff. I will say, you know, I'm probably in the minority here, but when it comes to, oh yeah, we're definitely gonna go with the Rambi Rider just for the ultra nostalgia there. For those of you that don't know, Donkey Kong Country is the first game that I don't know if it's the first game that I ever played, but it's the first vivid memory that I have from my life. Playing Donkey Kong Country on the Super Nintendo when I was 3 years old. There was literally nothing that I can remember from my life before that. Like, that is the first vivid memory that I have. So, you know, tons of nostalgia, obviously, for Donkey Kong and all that, but here we are, we're in the game, and the nostalgia is already flowing incredibly strong on the first Grand Prix levels here in the Mushroom Cup. Right off the rip, we got a star power up, so we're gonna go ahead and rip that. Come here, Toad, I'm coming for you, boy. Oh, wait, we got Yoshi up here. I'm coming for you too, boy. Anyways, yeah, I don't know if I'm in the... Oh, yeah, look at the blue shell going for first place. I don't know if I'm the minority here when I say this, but when it comes to playing old school games, I would always just rather play them on the original hardware. I don't like seeing PS1, PS2, DS, N64 games upscaled to 1080p. I like seeing them in their original sub HD 480p, or in some cases like PS1 and DS and such, like 240p or lower resolutions, just because that's what those games were designed to be seen in when it comes to the art styles, the pixels and such, because obviously once you upscale them, they can start to, you know, just kind of look like a hodgepodge of Play-Doh rather than that slightly pixelated look that they were genuinely intended to have, because, you know, again, those assets were just made for those resolutions, and in most cases, they look better that way. Also, I prefer to play games, like, if they were made for 30 FPS, I'd just rather play them at 30 FPS. It's something hard to explain about playing certain games at 60 when they were made for 30, where whether it causes unintentional issues, like if you look at a game like Resident Evil 4, where the rifle reloads are all at 30 FPS while the rest of the game runs at 60 FPS. It seems like such a small thing, but it's just one of those things that can ever so slightly take you out of it. And, you know, again, I'm not like a graphics or FPS snob. I don't care about running games at max graphics, max resolutions, max frame rates. I would rather just get the natural intended experience that the game was intended to be experienced at. And there's two other things about the whole 30 versus 60 FPS thing. In some cases, 60 FPS can almost make an older game feel cheaper in a way, can kind of make it feel like a budget title, even though clearly it's just like a game from the past or whatever. You know, it's just one of those things where playing it at that higher frame, it makes things feel off. And furthermore, 30 FPS, sometimes it just plays into the nostalgia, and it's like, hey, this is how I remember the game. I know the timings of things. I know how things are supposed to feel at this frame rate, so therefore I just kind of prefer to play it this way. Like Ocarina of Time on the N64, as much as I love the 3DS remake, my nostalgia will always call back to that, like, what, 20, 15 FPS original? I mean, sure. If somebody would rather play the 3DS remake for the, you know, like the, I guess you could say, better graphics, graphics, but, you know, it's really not even a matter of better graphics. It's more or less like, sure, you know, they're higher resolution, but the art style was also just kind of changed outright for the 3DS remake. But, you know, for like the higher frame rates and such, and, you know, I'm not gonna fault anybody for that. It just comes down to preference, nostalgia, and what you would prefer to play. You know, neither way is wrong. It's just all a matter of opinion, and I say this all the time because I feel like people forget this, but we're all separate human beings. We can all have our own opinions on things. We don't all need to always be this echo chamber that the internet tends to be, where we all need to share the same opinion, and anybody that falters or alters from that opinion is just, like, objectively wrong. I like pineapple on pizza. You might hate pineapple on pizza, and you know what? That's okay, because again, we're all human. We can all have our own opinions. But anyway, unlike the first rate, no, Mario. But are you kidding me, dude? Second place for the second time in a row. I was literally right there, and Mario stole it from me. Oh, it's alright. We got 2 more races in this little Grand Prix here, but anyway, it's about time that I actually talk about Mario Kart DS itself and my nostalgia for this game. So, obviously, I was a kid that grew up with the original DS, or rather, the DS Lite. I had seen the original DS, but I didn't actually get my hands on a DS until shortly after the DS Lite had released. I remember it was a cobalt blue, and to this day, I'm still trying to look for that original cobalt blue. The only reason that I haven't repurchased the cobalt blue specifically yet is because I did end up buying a black one a couple years ago. But if you missed the Nintendo Lite consoles video I made, in that video I showed off the DS I had and the whole story there. So basically, back in 2019, I sold my original cobalt blue. Oh, dude, Mario just stole my power-up. But I sold my original Mario Kart, or my original Mario Kart, look at me, my original Cobalt Blue DS Lite in, like, 2019 because, well, there was 2 reasons. One, I was kind of poor at the time, and I was like, hey, you know, I really want to pre-order Modern Warfare 2019, because that's a tradition for me. I've been pre-ordering the Call of Duty every single year for as long as I can remember at this point. And, yeah, you know, it was one of those years where I was like, alright, money's down really bad, so I gotta find a way to get money. And furthermore, that DS was basically just done for anyway, right? Like, you know, the battery was just not holding a charge, the D-pad was almost sunken into the system, the screens had some issues, and the hinges were starting to have some issues. So it was just getting to that point where I was like, alright, you know what, I need some money, and GameStop is willing to take this thing, even though it barely works anyway, so I'll just trade it in, and when I'm in a better place financially, I'll go ahead and repurchase a DS. So, I did that 2 years later, 2021, I believe it was. I ended up repurchasing a black DS Lite just because at that time I was like, oh yeah, you know what, I'll go ahead and grab a black model, but now I regret that because I really want that original Cobalt Blue just for that nostalgia factor of, hey, that was the original one that I had, and all the accessories I have for my DS Lite are even that same shade of blue. Like the case I have is like a darkish blue, sort of like the Cobalt Blue is. Nerf case, I also have a bigger carrying case for it. It's a official Nintendo one, but it's also like that same shade of Cobalt Blue, so still looking for that. But the DS that I ended up getting, the seller didn't mention it, nor did I really notice it in the pictures just because of the angle they had taken it at. I did get a good price on it, thankfully, but, you know, the screens were kind of scuffed up, and it's enough to where it's like, alright, you know, like, when it's off, you can really see it, and while you're playing, I mean, like, my brain kind of adjusts to it, so I stopped seeing it after a while, but anytime I have to use the stylus on that screen, like, I'm running over the scratches the entire time, so it's just one of those things where it's like, okay, this is a usable system, and I'll continue to use that system to play my DS games for now, but at some point, I definitely want to get the Cobalt Blue for that nostalgia. And furthermore, I'm also looking to buy a DSi at some point, because that's another one that came out around, like, 2008 or whatever. A bunch of my friends and family had that system. I just never had it, because obviously I had a DS Lite, so I didn't necessarily need it, and I know it's another situation where I could also use either, like, my 3DS or my 2DS to play my DS games. But, you know, if you haven't picked up on this from the conversations that we've already been having in this video thus far, I'm the type of guy where I just prefer to play things on the original hardware or a variation of the original hardware. So in this case, I'd be okay with playing DS games on the DSi because, A, I've never experienced the DSi for myself actually owning one. I've played on one, I've just never gotten to experience it, you know, by my own means actually owning it without just, you know, playing on it for a few seconds because somebody I know or that I'm around at the moment just happened to have one as well. But, you know, again, just one of those things where it's still a variation of the original hardware, so I'd totally be down to play my DS games on that, but, you know, even after that, I'm sure I'll probably still just play on my DS Lite 99% of the time, just because that's the one that I have the most nostalgia for. But I do also want to grab the original silver, like, fat DS model at some point, just because I always really liked the design of that system, and I don't know, like, it's just something about the build of that system. It always really appealed to me, you know. It's a bit heftier, it's definitely not as slim and sleek as, like, the DS Lite is, for example, but I don't know, there's just something about it where it's like, yeah, man, that's like the early 2000s right there, where it's like, it's trying to be futuristic in a way, because, you know, that was something, obviously I wasn't alive during, like, the 90s and the 80s or whatever. I wasn't born until the turn of the century, but that was a thing during, like, the 80s and the 90s. Whether you look at, like, media or just the way things were being designed, they were constantly going for that futuristic aesthetic. And in the 2000s and, like, the mid-2000s, you know, just, there was always that aesthetic that still carried on, where they were clearly going for, like, a futuristic look. Like, there's that one classic example we can all point to of that one video before the Xbox One and the PS4 released, where they were trying to figure out, like, okay, what are the next consoles going to be, and they had, like, these really futuristic mock-ups of, like, the Xbox 720 and the PS4 and, like, the Wii, something, I don't know, there was, like, a bunch of crazy stuff. If you know what I'm talking about, then you know what I'm talking about. That video is an absolute classic. It's got the 2000s music going in the background. So that's another thing. Let me just say, not, like, 90s to 2000s music, as much as I love music from before and after that, of course, that's just, like, primetime music, in my opinion. Like, I don't know, man, just all the music from that era, between, like, NU metal and then the type of, like, or even rap music that was out at the time, because I can't, oh wait, how did I do? Did I, oh no, we're tied for first place. Oh wait, I actually ended up pulling out ahead of Bowser, even though we had the same amount of points. You know what, Nintendo, I'll take it, thank you. So there it is, we're at the end of the first Grand Prix, yeah. Look at me go on Raby Rider, yeah. We did it, we made it to the end of the Mushroom Cup. I always love this little end cutscene here, and I'm glad that it's playing in its natural resolution, or at least it seems to be, because it's a bit more pixelated right now. This is what I'm talking about. The games just look so much better when they're actually pixelated. I decided to upscale them just for your viewing convenience, I guess you could call it, just because I'm sure people would want to watch higher resolution stuff or whatever, rather than something that's a bit more pixely, but still. You know what, now we'll go ahead and, hey, do we play as Mario? Do we play as, no, you know what, this is a Mario Kart video. We'll go ahead and we'll do the, do we do the I don't know. I feel like the standard MR, I mean, that's just like, you know, that's a classic thing right there. We'll also do a retro Grand Prix. Let's see, we got, which one do we want to do? Do we want to do the Banana Cup with, like, Donut Plains? That one's an absolute classic, but I don't know. I feel like we might do this one right here. You know, it's the first one. We did the first one for the Nitro Grand Prix. We'll just do the first one for the retro. We got Mario Circuit from SNES, Moo Moo Farm from N64, Peach Circuit from GBA, and Luigi Circuit from GameCube. Let's do it. Oh, man, I'm getting all sorts of nostalgia here. Like I said before, obviously, I wasn't born there in the 90s, but, you know, I did have a SNES when I was a youngin'. Not really sure whatever ended up happening to that thing. Thankfully, I have been able to, you know, get my hands on a SNES again since then. It's just unfortunately not that original one, which, you know, that's one of those things where, like, when you have a device from when you're younger, you know, even if you get a new one or a replacement at some point, there's just always something special about being able to hold onto the specific system that you had from when you were younger. Like, even if it's dinged up, scratched up, or even if there's issues with it, you know what I mean? Like, for me, I still have, like, my original copy of Lego Batman on PS2 from when I was younger. And sure, at this point, since I've had it for, like, 16 years at this point, the case is a little dinged up, you know. I mean, the disc and the manual are still in fantastic condition. It's just that the disc got a little dinged up. I'm not exactly sure when or how it would have happened, because I take amazing care of my stuff. I'm assuming it happened during one of my moves, because I moved many times during my life. But despite the fact that it's dinged up, you know, I wouldn't be looking to replace the case or anything, because some of those dings on that case kind of tell a story of their own, you know what I mean? And, you know, it's part of the nostalgia that I have for the game, just to be like, yeah, this thing is war-torn just like I am. It's been with me through the years. And once again, first place was stolen from me by just the littlest bit. I'm not gonna lie. It's one of those things where I'm, you know, considering the fact that I'm a YouTuber, and I'm constantly playing games and commentating at the same time, you think I would be better at this point, but more times than not, when you'll watch my content, you'll realize that I put way too much emphasis on talking, and I'm just basically autopiloting my way through playing these games sometimes on videos, so, you know, I gotta get better at that, but it might just be an ADHD thing, who knows, but thankfully, I do have a star, so I'm just gonna go ahead and smash through everybody. But as I was saying before, like, otherwise, you know, I always do take really good care of my stuff. Like, if I'm buying if I'm buying a game for my collection, I buy it in the best condition that I can. I also, once I get it, make sure I take off any stickers, clean up any dings or goo. Like, I try to make it look as pristine and brand new as possible, but there's a separation between the games that I'm, you know, buying for the collection now and then games that I've just had for a while. If it's a game that I've just had for a while and it's a little dinged up, you know, obviously I'll do what I can to fix it up, but if there's a few dings that just simply can't be fixed, you know, I'm okay just kind of chilling with it and be like, hey, you know what, there's stories and memories to be had with those dings, so I'm alright with it. That's one thing that I love about Mario Kart DS. The tracks never outstay their welcome. It's kind of like, it's almost like WarioWare in a way, where it's just like a constant dopamine blast. I mean, obviously this is not, wow, we got hit by the blue shell. Alright, yep, there it is. They're coming to steal first place from me once again, man. Mario Kart DS is absolutely brutal today, apparently. Dark Souls level of difficulty. This is the Dark Souls of Mario Kart games and kart racers. No, not another blue shell. Dude, I got hit by 2 blue shells in this. And another red shell. This, if I get third, oh no, I just hit a banana. That's my fault. I was looking at the map. Alright, if we actually, can we pull ahead and just stay in like 3rd place, maybe? Okay, yeah, 3rd place. I mean, I can tolerate that. This is looking rough. We're in 2nd place with only 14 points. Meanwhile, Wario is literally at 1st with 20 points. Alright, this is a super nostalgic one right here. Oh man, I have so many memories from playing on this track back in the day. Let me tell you. I apologize. There were so many conversations and topics that I brought up and started in this video, but I definitely never followed through on. So if there's anything that I forgot to finish talking about or addressing, I seriously apologize. My my ADHD, you know what, maybe some of my OCD does have something to do with it, because sometimes I obsess over the way that I say things or talk about things in video. If I'm in 2nd place this time, that is my fault. You guys just saw me stay in the grass for way too long right there. But, you know, sometimes they kind of feed into each other, and it just makes it a mess when I'm trying to hold a conversation with... I mean, in this case, I'm literally just kind of holding a conversation with myself and speaking to a camera, yet still, you know, I'm struggling to even do that. So you can only imagine what it's like having a conversation with me IRL. Oh yeah, that's what I wanted to talk about. Yeah, finally, almost 20 minutes into this recording session, or 20 minutes after I initially brought it up in this recording session, rather, because I've been recording and, you know, doing this for almost 30 minutes now, actually, which, thanks to the power of editing, hopefully you've only been here for maybe 10 minutes now, maybe less than that. Anyway, yeah, tons of nostalgia for this game, obviously. Some of my fondest memories with this would obviously be, you know, because for a while, I actually didn't own this game. I always had to do download play with my cousins, and if you know anything about download play with this game, essentially, anybody that is just playing off of download play has to play as a shy guy. So, you know, I was one of those shy guys, okay? When people were having their Mario Kart DS parties, there I am in 2nd place again. Wario is just absolutely destroying us, man. Even if I get 1st place in the final race, I don't know if I'm actually going to be able to pull in the win. This is Luigi Circuit here, another one I have a lot of nostalgia for, so maybe we'll be able to pull ahead here. I have nostalgia for basically like all the Mario Karts at this point, even Mario Kart 8 actually. I have an insane amount of nostalgia for that, because I mean the game's already like 10 years old, and I just have so much fondness for the Wii U era, which I did make a whole video talking about last night, if that interests you in particular. Not trying to shamelessly plug, I'm just, you know, genuinely saying, like, hey, if you want to hear somebody gush about the Wii U because, you know, all anybody else seems to do online is dunk on the thing, well then, I'm your guy, because I genuinely love the Wii U. But anyways, yeah, I was always one of those shy guys at the Mario Kart DS parties, whether it was with friends or family or anything like that, you know. If we were at school and we had our DS's, I was the shy guy. If, you know, I was at my cousin's house, I was the shy guy while everybody else was getting to play as like Peach and Bowser and Donkey Kong. But I will say it's pretty nice because this past Christmas I bought my younger siblings their first DS Lites, because obviously they're a bit younger and they missed out on that era, just because, you know, because I have 3 younger siblings, I'm the oldest, and the younger brother that was born like after me, the one that was born like right after me, 2nd oldest, he, you know, even he was too young to actually be there for, like, the DS era, so, you know, it was pretty cool seeing him get genuinely excited when I bought him that DS Lite, and, you know, obviously I hooked him up with an R4 card. I know. Some people might look at that and be like, oh, it's a bad influence, you're getting him into the modding stuff, but it's one of those things where it's like, hey, man, the games aren't officially available, and while, yes, I could have picked up a few individual games on eBay, I would rather get them one convenient card, since, you know, they're a bit younger, they're used to how things are nowadays. You know, you turn on your phone and all your games are just there. You don't gotta switch between a bunch of physical media, so I got him, and then my 2nd youngest sibling, I guess it would be, my younger sister. I ended up getting her a pink DS Lite, which that was a whole fiasco, because I bought her a pink one, but the first one we got, you know, there was something wrong with it, so I had to open it up, and when I opened it up, it ended up just having even more issues. So it was just the whole thing where I was like, okay, I can either spend all this time and money trying to fix this thing and solder it. Man, Wario pulled ahead. He had 36 points, and I only had 30. Tis what it is, but it was one of those things where it was like, you know, like part of the power switch on the side had snapped. So I was like, alright, I can either like solder this thing and go through the pain of ordering all that equipment, because I don't have any soldering equipment at the moment, or I can just go ahead and order a new DS Lite for her. So I ended up doing that. I essentially had to buy her 2 DS Lites for, you know, just to give her one, but thankfully I was able to sell off the other one to somebody that was looking for a DS for parts anyway, because the rest of the device was fine. It was just that one power switch thing. But anyway, going back on topic, I got her that DS Lite, got my brother the red and black one, and I got both of them R4s, loaded up with some games and stuff, and it was pretty cool just getting to relive my childhood in a way through them while they're still in their childhoods per se. Well, my younger brother, he's actually almost an adult at this point, which just makes me feel even older, because I still look at him like, you know, like a little baby, obviously. That's one thing I gotta say about my mother. There was a time where she was saying she was only gonna have like 2 or 3 kids, and now here we are, you know. The separation between me and my youngest brother is literally like 2 decades. But anyways, yeah, it was pretty cool getting to sort of relive my childhood memories of Mario Kart DS through them, because, you know, initially, I'm not gonna lie, I was a bit of a bully, so I had my copy of Mario Kart DS. I was like, hey, let's play it. And I won't lie, I didn't tell them how to go into the game and then go into download play and all that, because I just wanted it to be a simple process for them, just so they could at least understand, like, how download play works. So it wasn't me just trying to be mean and make them play Shy Guys. I was also just trying to teach them the fundamentals of the DS and what was so amazing about the device at the time. And it blew their mind that they didn't even need service or Wi-Fi to play through download play. Like, that was such a cool concept to them. Like, they didn't even understand how it works. So that was actually pretty cool, seeing the fact that you know, technology from 2004 can still blow kids' minds today in 2024, 20 years later. But anyway, yeah, I was showing them how download play works, and it was pretty cool just being like, yeah, no, I'm the one that can play as Mario, and you two are playing as Shy Guys. And my mom, you know, she was even playing on the DS a bit. You know, me and her ran some Mario Kart things together. I want to buy her own DS at some point. She really seems to dig the thing. But anyways, that was a lot of fun, and then I taught him how to actually go to the multiplayer and set things up. You know, my sister played as Peach. I think I played as Bowser, and then my brother played as Donkey Kong or something like that. But yeah, it was a lot of fun. I remember we just spent hours playing it that day. And for the subsequent days through that like Christmas season or whatever. So, you know, a lot of fun. Even as an adult, I can still make a lot of fond and nostalgic memories, which I feel like that's something important that we should all remember, is that even though our most nostalgic years from our childhood are behind us, even as adults, we can still form, you know, good, fun memories that, you know, we can even become nostalgic for years down the line, because the only reason that we're quote-unquote nostalgic for things from the past is just because enough time has passed for us to be nostalgic over them, because that's what nostalgia is. You know, it's something that you look at not only fondly, but because so much time has passed to where now it is considered nostalgia, because part of nostalgia is just the essence of time itself. So again, you know, never be afraid to form more fond memories, because one day they could be part of the nostalgia that you look back at now. But anyway, rambles and tangents aside, I think I covered most of what I wanted to cover in this video. There's probably some other things I wanted to touch on, or things I wanted to say, or things I forgot to finish up my thoughts on, but it's just kind of the essence of me and how my brain works. So anyways, yeah, hope you guys enjoyed this video, because I sure had a lot of fun making it. It's just always fun, and always nice getting to take a nostalgic trip down memory lane. But anyway, as always, smash shout out, thank you to all the Patreons and channel members, thank you to all the low volunteer, never shout out, thank you to all the mid volunteer, my last team, dad, and the bitch, that's on GT, run, bench, some thank you guys so much, you guys are literal legends. I love you. Thank you guys for watching. Have a busy day, stay beautiful. I love you all. Peace.